Amsterdam calling, so pick up.
Officials in the Dutch capital Amsterdam have launched a digital campaign to try to reduce the number of British tourists coming in search of drugs, sex and alcohol.
And the council now has a message for young British men: stay away.
These ads are part of a campaign to discourage certain kind of tourists from coming.
Hello allemaal and welcome back to Amsterdam Calling. I'm Dam Jerry and I'm going to tell you about the biggest don'ts that you should never do while in Amsterdam. Now in a future episode I'll be giving you great tips on how to keep safe and have a fun time here in the city, but today it's all about avoiding the biggest don't that you should never do. Something that is both unsafe for you and others, but will make you very unpopular with locals and can lead to the disappearance of the liberal attitudes and activities that we all love about the city. And I'm telling you, by avoiding this don't, you can literally save Amsterdam as we know and love.
Over the last 10 years or so, Amsterdam has been suffering from overcrowding from too many tourists.
Well, isn't a lot of tourists a good thing, especially when local businesses rely on tourism to make a living?
But the amount of travelers that stay in our city at the same time has reached astronomical proportions, making it unlivable for many Amsterdam residents living in the city center. And Amsterdam isn't alone. Other small European cities like Venice and Barcelona are facing similar issues.
More people around the world can afford to travel with all the budget airlines and budget accommodations, and not to mention all the online social media platforms that promote it as well. But the truth of the matter is our cities cannot handle the increased amount of tourists that flow into them every year. So, to solve this problem, the city adopted an approach to choose the tourists that it wanted and to discourage the ones that it didn't.
First, the city wanted to attract more affluent visitors, the kind that stay in 4- and 5-star hotels and are interested in the more cultural aspects of the city. So the city proposed to raise hotel taxes and raise airport fees for budget airlines. That didn't work.
So now the city is taking aim at another type of tourist, and that is the type of tourist that comes here solely to party. And that's sort of a shame, because Amsterdam is known for its liberal attitude and is very tolerant of people to come here to be what they want to be and do what they want to do, as long as it's within the limits of the law. The problem is there are just too many people coming here and taking advantage of the city's tolerance and liberalism. With the partying comes drunkenness, disorderly conduct, drug overdoses, and at all hours of the night. In other words, there are just too many people screaming, fighting, vomiting, pissing, passing out on public streets and on private doorsteps. With more tourists overall comes more disrespectful partiers. And the residents in the red light district and in other entertainment areas around the city have had enough. And that is saying a lot, because in general, Dutch people and Amsterdammers are very laid back people and believe in sort of a live and let live kind of attitude. Grumpy old men screaming, "Get off my lawn," do not exist here. Except for me, of course. But now we are definitely at a crisis point.
Even before over-tourism became a problem, certain groups have been trying to get rid of the coffee shops and girls in the windows. With some new regulations, many coffee shops were forced to close, and the city bought back some of the red light windows and turned them into more culturally friendly places like art galleries and pop-up stores. Lawmakers heard the residents' complaints about abusive tourists and have already made some rules to curb the party atmosphere. No drinking alcohol in public, punishable by a fine. Tours of the red light district have been banned. No smoking grass on the streets of the red light district, punishable by fine. And red light windows must close earlier at 3 a.m. instead of 6 a.m.
And new rules could be coming, including closing bars at 2 a.m. and moving the prostitutes to an entertainment complex outside the city center. So you can see that disrespectful tourists who cause problems for neighbors and law enforcement can end up being the nail in Amsterdam's coffin.
Amsterdammers are becoming less tolerant of tourists who cannot behave properly. The city has taken a direct, no-nonsense approach to discourage people coming here just to party with their Stay Away campaign. A harsh Dutch direct way of saying, "We don't want you."
Partying tourists definitely have a target on their backs. Surely both tourists and residents can coexist without any new laws being made. But that depends entirely on you and how you decide to behave when you're here. Simply Please don't be disrespectful. Please don't be a disrespectful tourist. Amsterdam is a city and not an adult Disneyland. People work and live above the restaurants, cafes, and bars that you frequent at night. So when you go there, please think of the people who live here and how your behavior can affect them. Please don't get drunk, at least not in public. Please do so at a club or at a restaurant or in your hotel room. And if you're out at a club or a restaurant, please sober up before your walk back to the hotel. We all know that drunkenness can lead to loud, obnoxious, and sometimes violent behavior, some things neighbors don't need to deal with. So don't get drunk in public. Not only for the reasons that I just mentioned, but it is now illegal in some places and it can lead to big fines. Please don't smoke in public. I mean, again, it's illegal in some places and a lot of people just don't like the smell of it. If you want to smoke, do so in a licensed coffee shop. And don't forget, always buy your stuff from one of these licensed coffee shops as well. And please don't end up in the hospital. The stuff that you buy in Amsterdam coffee shops is stronger than what you're used to at home. So please go lighter than heavier. And please don't be that person who thinks they can handle it, but in the end can't. Don't pee in the canals. I mean, not only is this disgusting, but it can be very unsafe, especially while you drink. I mean, every year there are drunk tourists who fall into the canals trying to take a piss. Find a restaurant, a cafe, buy a drink, use their restroom, or if you can't do that, try to find an open urinal, outdoor urinal like the one behind me. You'll be peeing directly into the canal anyway, and it's a lot safer and a lot more private. Please don't take photographs of the women in the windows. Not only are there signs all over the place asking you not to do so, it is just disrespectful, as you can imagine, that their line of work requires the utmost privacy. And believe me, you don't want a pissed off prostitute running after you for your camera, or worse yet, one of their bosses who want to take it away from you. And please don't loiter on people's private doorsteps. I mean, eating, drinking, and smoking on private property really is not cool. And as I said before, Amsterdammers are not the type of people that are going to come out and tell you to leave because, I mean, again, they're very practical and they just think it's easier that you'll go away at some point. But just because they don't tell you to leave doesn't mean they don't feel inconvenienced or bothered.
And lastly, the city center isn't the only place tourists have become a problem. Every spring, from March till May, thousands of people descend upon the colorful tulip fields to take pictures. And many enter the fields uninvited and cause disease and damage to the flowers. All the fields are privately owned, and just because there isn't a fence around them doesn't give you the right to enter without permission. So please, do not go into the tulip fields without asking first. Also, there are certain fields that welcome guests for a fee, and there are certain farms that are set up for visitors, such as the Tulip Barn, Tulip Experience, and Tulperij. So there are plenty of ways of getting great selfies without inconveniencing the farmers.
So there you have it. Damn, Grandpa has spoken. And I know this is a tough subject to think about, and I know some of you are going to carry on as normal. But toning it down a little bit isn't asking a lot. And it's either that or risk losing all the things that we love about Amsterdam. And if that happens, the city isn't going to need a campaign to keep you away. And of course we don't want to keep you away. Come here, have a good time, but please be respectful. I'm Dem Jerry with Amsterdam Calling, hoping all of your days are lief, leuk en lekker. Tot de volgende keer.